It's connecting and we are recording. So good evening, everyone. My name is Lori Daniel Falk, and I am a visionary artist and a life coach and a health and wellness coach. And apparently I'm also involved in Healy right now. And I say that because when this all started, I had absolutely no intention whatsoever of going into this as a business. And here we are 9 months later. So how do you explain that? Well, let's start at the beginning. This story starts when I was 29 years old. I was in New York City and I was hailing a cab in the fashion district. And the next thing I knew, I woke up under a truck. I literally got hit right here in the neck. And when I woke up under that truck, the wheels stopped that far from running me over. So being the young, spunky 29-year-old that I was, when everyone told me to go to the hospital and get x-rays and have all these things done, I just said, no, I'm thrilled and ecstatic that I'm alive. And I walked about a mile to go see a friend of mine. And that was the end of that until about 10 years later, when I started having major depressive episodes. And those depressive episodes got worse and worse and worse until eventually I ended up in the traditional medical model on multiple antidepressants. And then the antidepressants would keep me up at night, and then I'd have to have sleeping medication to counteract that. So the long and the short of it is I was fortunate enough and blessed enough to stumble upon a naturopath who had just received one of the first biofeedback devices in the United States. And she ran a scan on me. For those of you who know what the QXCI was, that was the unit that I had the scan on. And she was able, in one scan, to determine that the C1 through C3 vertebrae were compressed from all that pain and tension that I was carrying in my neck from that accident. And there isn't a doctor alive, a traditional doctor, that would have ever figured that out. They would have just kept throwing meds because that's all they've been doing for several years. And she said, it's very simple. All these meds aren't helping because the neurotransmitters, most of which get made in the gut, aren't getting up the spinal column into the brain. Therefore, they're not getting to where they need to be to balance you out emotionally. Well, do you know what a godsend that was to me? What a gift that was to finally know that after all of that, I literally had an answer. And the biofeedback device, as we all know, not only was it able to tell us that was going on, but it was also able to give me the treatments that I needed to loosen the muscles. And then I started seeing cranial sacral therapists, et cetera, et cetera. So over the years, over the decades, if you will, that was my saving grace. And she also could tell me at that time that my kidneys were showing signs of dysfunction. And she said, if you don't get off these meds, by the time you're 60, you'll be on dialysis. So biofeedback became my love. It became what I was here to do. It became my everything. It really did. So I was so blessed and so grateful. And flash forward to about 9 months ago, April 28th, I got a call from Julie Phillips, who had gotten a call from Tony O'Brien, and I ended up on a call. And within 5 minutes, I was immediately saying yes. I was out on a walk and having this conversation with Tony and Julie, and I was so excited that I could have a biofeedback device in my home for $2,500. Okay, it was a little cheaper back then, but we all know the gist of this. So anybody who is not muted, can you please mute yourselves? Because we've gotten a lot of feedback. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. In any event, I said yes, I jumped in, and all I wanted was that device in my house. I wanted that device in my house so I could treat myself. I was so excited that I could treat myself every day. And then as time went on, I started to understand that not only would I be treating myself, but that I actually could treat my little girl, Gabriella. I could treat my clients as a health coach and a wellness coach. I deal a lot with epigenetics, and the fact that I could get into the emotional field with all of the Bach flowers and bush flowers and gem elixirs, and help my clients to let go of those beliefs, those limiting beliefs that they were holding on to so strongly. It was quite amazing and quite incredible. Gabriella, could you mute yourself, please? Oh my goodness, you know she's only doing that because you guys have my attention and she doesn't. But bless her heart. In any event, I just was thrilled. And then what happened was people started asking me, they're like, you seem really happy in the midst of this pandemic. And I'm like, well, I am. And I started telling my friends and clients how excited I was about this biofeedback device that I had. I swear to you, I had no intention of selling them. I wasn't at all interested in selling them. I just thought, well, maybe this could help them too. So I let them know about it. And I started getting phone calls. I'm not kidding you. It wasn't me making the phone calls. I started getting phone calls. People started calling me and saying, how do I get one of those? And that was pretty exciting. That was really exciting, actually. Linda, you have a question. Okay, I'm sorry. We're saving the Q&A until the end. And you guys can share testimonials and questions and all of that at the end. But anyway, so how absolutely fabulous to actually have people start calling you and saying, how do I get one? Or I'd walk into a room and I'd be meeting someone and they go, okay, that's it. I've decided, sign me up right now before we get started with anything else. So it was absolutely amazing the way this kind of all unfolded. And here we are 9 months later. I believe between the two legs, there's almost 250 people. And that wasn't even planned. It wasn't intended. And meanwhile, I have so fallen in love with this device, as I know so many of you have as well. So it's just been a magical journey. And, you know, I have to tell you that when I first got it, I had an ear infection, and I ran the bacteria program, and the pain stopped within 15 minutes. The next day, I ran the allergy meridian program, and the itching stopped for the first time in 2 weeks. So it was just like these little subtle things were happening, and that really got my attention. But what got my attention even more is recently, because I still have neck issues, right? I'm still working on that. That's a constant chronic thing. So I was standing in my kitchen about a week or two ago, and I felt this downward spiral, a cascade of chemicals going in my body. And by the time you have dealt with depressive disorder for going on 3 decades, you know what it feels like when one is coming on. And I just said, no, absolutely not. I am grabbing my Healy, and I started running the mental balance program. I ran Contentment Acute. I ran Inner Strength. I went for a walk. I moved those frequencies through my body. And I tell you, an hour and a half later, I literally felt normal again. And there was nothing more amazing to me than that. It was the most incredible thing. Absolutely the most incredible thing. And I started using it on Gabriella in the last, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 months. And Gabby is a rescue. She came from an Amish breeding mill. And at that Amish breeding mill, she was traumatized. When I picked her up 2.5 years ago, she literally was terrified of her own shadow. The only person she felt comfortable with was me. And she was afraid of the TV. She was afraid of loud noises. She was afraid of music. Like everything terrified her. I don't even want to know what they did to her. I'm just grateful that I had the Healy and I could start running programs on her. And much like with my clients, I run a lot of the homeopathics on her, and I run them on her every day. So what does that mean? That means I'm running the Bach flowers, the bush flowers, the gem elixirs, the I Ching, all of those things. And lo and behold, about a couple of weeks ago, one of my friends came over who hadn't seen her in a few months. And my girlfriend said, like, what are you doing to her? She's just entirely different than she ever was before. And I said, well, it's real simple. I'm running Healy frequencies on her every day. And she's like, I just can't believe it. Her personality has blossomed, and she's so friendly and she's so interactive. And so it was a totally unsolicited testimonial, if you will. So very exciting, very, very, very exciting. And it's just been nothing short of magical ever since. One other little testimonial I can share with you had to do with one of my clients. Has a 14-year-old dachshund, and she also has a 6-month-old puppy in her house. And the puppy goes to daycare, and the puppy brought home one of those nasty upper respiratory infections and gave it to the 14-year-old. So they took them both to the vet. The vet put them both on medications, and lo and behold, the puppy bounced back right away. And as one might imagine, the 14-year-old wasn't getting any better. So my client called me and said, you know, I was just wondering if you could run a long distance Healy session on Baron. And I said, sure. So that night I ran a session, 1.5-hour session on him, long distance. He's 1.5 hours away. So there was obviously no hookups. I ran mostly, I shouldn't say mostly, it was probably 50% resonance and 50% pink dot programs with intention. Looked at the Healy and said, send these frequencies to Barron in Brookfield, Wisconsin. And the next morning, she called me up and said, oh my God, he didn't cough when he woke up. And 6 hours later, she's called me and said, he didn't cough all day. One session, long distance. It was absolutely heartwarming. And of course, she was thrilled, and I'm sure he felt better. So those are my reasons for loving this device so much. And I know many of you have testimonials that you can share with us later as well. So what I'd like to do is share my screen with you. And, you know, I've like I said, I've been with the company since they opened in the US on May 1st. And what a launch that was. Oh my God. We literally doubled the sales projections that the company had. And, you know, my type A Capricorn brain just went, they must have had really low projections, because how do you double this in the middle of a pandemic? And so I actually looked at all the company sales, and I looked at the projections, and those projections were very aggressive. So the fact that we literally went from nothing to doubling the projections was amazing. Just as amazing as it is for the company overall to go from 7 million to 110 million in only a year. You guys, we are involved in something so amazing. And for those of you who aren't involved yet, oh my gosh, you're in the right place, because this product is amazing. The people that we are all working with together collectively are amazing. and the business is amazing. So, but Art Rucker is bar none one of the best presenters in the company, absolutely best. And so we're going to just listen to a little bit of his presentation that he recorded back in September, because I really think he does it better than anybody. So bear with me as I share my screen. Okay. All right.
Okay, we're going to talk about health, well-being, balance, and frequencies for life. And basically everything is frequency, because one of the greatest inventors of all time, Nikola Tesla, and 1800, he already understood that if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. The world would have looked different if the fundings for his free energy concept weren't stopped. There was no money to be made on free energy. So the investors in that time, they were just rolling out electricity networks and they just put a lot of money in it. So this was actually a threat. But if he would have had all the inventions of Nikola Tesla, the world would have looked much, much different. Einstein theories of Nikola Tesla, and in 1905 he published 3 papers. He put quantum physics in the world, and he got a Nobel Prize for it in 1921. Because what they find out is that everything is frequency, and engineers, inventors, etc., all people, scientists, they find out that frequencies can shatter things. For example, the right frequency can shatter a glass, but the right frequency can also shatter a parasite. It can burst a parasite. It can burst a bacteria or a virus. So with frequencies, you can destroy things. With frequencies, you can neutralize things. Think about those noise-canceling headphones. They are sensing what the sound is, what the frequencies of the environment are, and then they give a counterbalance and it neutralizes the sound. So it becomes very silent. But did you also know that pain is a frequency? So with the right frequency to counterbalance it, you can neutralize it and then you don't have pain anymore. But frequencies can also stimulate, for example, the tissue and the organs and the things that actually are a little bit more slowed down or standing still. Frequencies can stimulate it again. And then I want to give you an example of if you record from a guitar, if you record the snares, if you just, you bump them and then you record it. And then without touching the snares, you are putting a loudspeaker underneath the guitar and you play the sound, you see individually the same snare starting to vibrate again, the ones that you just plugged. So this is really, really interesting. With frequencies, we can stimulate things. So from 1920, they started to experiment with frequencies and they find out that certain frequencies, they are working on reducing inflammations. They can help with allergic reactions. They can help with fibrosis. They can help with scar softening. They can help with all kinds of aches, actually. Of course, this was a big threat for the pharmaceutical companies who were just rolling out a new way of treating people and patients with medicine, like made from petroleum oil. And this was something they couldn't make money on. So this was a threat, and they started to accuse people of quackery. So this is really something to keep in mind, that sometimes we get the questions of people like, why haven't we seen this before? It is because of that. Big Pharma was a real pain in the ass in holding this, and there was not a possibility to write about. And then Dr. Rife came, one of the greatest inventors of microscopes, but also because he studied medicine, he specialized in bacteria and etc. And he found ways how to make the Rife machine, and that is with a plasma tube. And that's actually where I'm being treated with like 2 years ago. And that is sending out very strong vibrations, frequencies. And those frequencies, the right frequencies, can also help people with various cancers. So all people were being helped. And this was big news. This was in all the newspapers. It was sent out everywhere. There's even a documentary. So do your own research. But Big Pharma saw this as a huge threat. They destroyed the laboratory of Dr. Rife. They took the equipment. They said to Dr. Rife, you can never speak about it again. Dr. Rife got addicted to alcohol because everything was being suppressed. All people working with frequency therapy back then, they were said, like, you can never use it again because otherwise you will lose your medical license or we put you in jail. So it was for a very long time silent. In 1980, 1990, Russian and German scientists, they started to experiment again, and they find beautiful equipment. And 15 years ago, I was treated with one of these equipments. And then came the time waver. So the time waver is considered the Ferrari or the Lamborghini amongst frequency devices. I have two myself. I have the frequency, the time waver frequency and the time waver med. The time waver frequency is working with microcurrents, and the time waver med is working with our energy field. It's like our information field, energy field, aura, whatever you want to name it. The computer programs are fantastic, phenomenal. They are so huge. It's unbelievable what you can do with a time waver. It's like, wow, really bizarre. But the wish of those time waver therapists was to have a smaller device where people can treat themselves at home as well. Because if one treatment at a time waver therapist is costing €100, $100, then how often would you go a month? I think one time, maybe 2 times. But how would it be if you can have 3 till 4 treatments a day? And this is what the possibility is with the Healy. So there's much more effectiveness, let's say that way. They started to roll out the Healy amongst therapists about 4 years ago. So the Healy is already 4 years on the market, 5 years now. But the Healy is, it was costing much more money back then. The time waver is costing between $12,000 and $40,000. So there's a lot of investment being involved when you have these big devices. But the Healy is simple. The Healy is something that you can use at home with a simple to use app. So when the Healy came out, it was costing a few thousands of dollars. But they had to make a lot of advertising. Advertising is expensive. So the web shop was not working enough. People want to have this Healy in their hands. And the inventor of this, he thought, like, if people have this Healy and they are excited about what it is doing to themselves, the Healy will also be shared with others. And this is social sharing. And why wouldn't we help those people to give them a commission because of sharing that, to share a Healy with someone else? We don't have to make any advertising. That's what Healy World thought. We don't have to make any advertising. So we can reward people for the behavior they do when they share something. And this is really cool. This is actually the same what is happening at your gym. At your gym, there are some certain posters, and it says like, okay, refer a friend to us and you get 1 month or 2 months free membership, and maybe like a sport bag as a gift as well. That is social sharing. So everyone is doing that. The normal way of advertising is dead, is not working anymore. So 1.5 years ago, Healy World was erased as a full daughter company of the Time Waver Group, a solid German company which is already 15-year market leader. So Healy World is really the sun. It is new, it is young, it is exciting. It is not fully grown yet. The customer service is not fully entirely, and especially after a huge promotion, there are swamped in tickets. So maybe the reply time is not as fast as you are maybe expected from an Apple company. But this company is doing everything to get all those things in line. So we are really at the beginning of something beautiful. And this is what's happening with Healy World right now. The inventor of this all is Marcus Mika. He studied physics when he was already 15 years old. He became a monk in India for 12 years. He came back, had a lot of questions, started to study philosophy to bring those worlds together. Author of 25 books, founder of several institutes, lecturer at several congresses, also about medicine. And he has like this huge vision. He wants to make his technology accessible to all humans. And the big vision is he wants to put 100 million Healys in the world within now and 7 years. And he's going to succeed. It's unbelievable what already has happened in 1.5 year time. Of course, he cannot do everything by himself. So he has gathered a whole international team of scientists, physicians, therapists, and engineers that are working together. One of the most special people he bumped into was this Portuguese guy, Nuno Luna. I challenge you right now to say his name 10 times in a row.
And not only does he have Nuno Nina, and I'm not going to try to say that many times in a row, he has all of us, and that's pretty exciting. Just to take this from being just a traditional company where people were spending $8,000 for these, to bringing it into a network marketing model, where now the price of these can be $2,500 for the high-end device. That's pretty incredible. That's really incredible, and I'm so thrilled to be part of that. And I know that many of you who are already part of this company are equally as excited to be part of it. We're here. We're moving this all forward.
Does Miss Cindy want to come in?
Oh, did we get?
You guys, can we keep ourselves muted, please? Thank you. It's interesting. I was talking this afternoon to Michaela, and we were watching the presentation that I gave 2 months ago. And 2 months ago, I remember saying to myself, I didn't say it to myself. I actually said it to the whole team. I said, okay, we only had 11 people here tonight, and Mark Recker had 130, but we'll get there. So here we are 2 months later, and we have 50 people tonight. That's pretty exciting. What do you think, Michaela?
I think it's extraordinary, and it just shows the power of intention and vision, and we're doing it.
Absolutely. We certainly are. We certainly are. So I thank you all for being part of this tonight and really being part of this vision. 100 million families. I mean, just think about that. 100 million families. And if it's in 100 million homes, how many people are you really reaching? I mean, I don't know about you, but those of you who have these devices, I bet I have 50 people in my device already. So it's like this exponential, incredible growth that's happening. And we're literally raising the consciousness of the whole planet. I think that's pretty exciting. Absolutely.
At this time, Lori.
What was that?
Especially at this time.
Especially at this time. That's just it. You know, Michaela and I this afternoon were also talking about the journey that we've all been on, right? We've been through, well, we know we blew the sales figures out of the water, but what happens when you do that? You eat up the inventory. And we ate up the inventory at a time where we couldn't get planes to get things here from Germany, and manufacturers were running out of things because people weren't working. And it was just like one little episode after another. But you know what? What's that old saying? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Look how much strength this company has today. And for those of you who don't know this, who aren't part of this organization yet, we are, because we're in such a great position, because this is the #1 product in network marketing, we've literally gone out and scoured the industry and pulled the best of the best of the best of the C-level executives into Healy. How exciting is that? I mean, any of the storms that we've weathered in the last year, we are going to be equally as blessed this year, not needing to deal with any of that. And to have this incredible group of people who want nothing more, just like us, want nothing more than to see Marcus's dream come true.
And our dreams.
And our dreams, absolutely, absolutely, because it really feels like, to me, it feels like every single person that's part of this company has been drawn to it. I said to Michaela this afternoon, I said, I feel like Albert Einstein and Nikola Tesla are working through all of us. Very exciting.
So it's their dreams still come true too.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I think we really have to take that bigger picture and carry that within us, because their intentions from back then are still running right now. And that's phenomenal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Were you on that call, Michaela, with Marcus, where he literally turned around and grabbed the 6-volume set of Nikola Tesla's work and set it on his desk? And he said, everything in here we're doing. I mean, I thought I died and went to heaven when he said that. Honest to God. I mean, I love the device. I love biofeedback. I love all of that. But to be part of an organization where we're bringing forward work that got buried only 100 years ago, this is nothing short of earth-shattering what we are a part of today.
Lori mentioned the sales from last year.
Last year, 2019, sales were 7 million. 2020, 110 million. That's unheard of. You know, whenever anybody complains at all to me about customer service tickets or anything like that, I just look at them and say, really and truly, there isn't a company ever that would plan on having that much of an increase in 12 months. And if you can't plan on it, you can't plan for it. So I think we really, really, really all just have to be grateful to be where we are. And those of you, again, that aren't with us yet, consider it, because even Gabby agrees. Don't you, honey? Yes, I know. Okay, so back to Mark. He's got a little bit more information to share with us. So let's see if I can go over to share my screen again. And let's see. There we go. Meeting the highest standards. Yes, we are.
Very important to know. So to make claims and to say that we are a medical class device 2A, we handed over about 40,000 papers and of proof, medical studies, double-blind, placebo-controlled, etc., in order to make some claims. In the USA, we can say Healy is FDA cleared as a medical device for pain relief. So really, really cool that we can also make things. In most parts of the world, we can only, in some parts of the world, we are just a wellness device, but it has exactly the same programs as what we have as a medical device. However, we can make claims. So most parts of the world where we are a medical device, not in the USA, we can say Healy is a medical device for the treatment of pain and chronic pain, fibromyalgia, skeletal pain, and migraine, as well as for the support of treatment of mental illnesses such as depression, anxiety, and related sleep disorders. All other applications of Healy are not recognized yet by conventional medicine due to a lack of evidence in the sense of conventional medicine. But so much more interest is going to be made in the field of frequencies that eventually we get much more case studies and also much more studies that we can show that we can do much more. Of course, to make these claims, it is costing the company millions because they have to hand over all these papers that needed to be treated, etc. So, but these are the most important ones that people can be helped with. For the USA, we can say Healy is a microcurrent medical device that has been cleared by the US Food and Drug Administration for the relief of acute chronic and arthritis pain and muscle soreness due to overexertion. Healy has also non-medical applications that use individualized frequencies to help balance your mind and body and relieve stress. Always use your Healy in accordance with its instructions for use. It's a small device, so it's like 5 by 5 centimeters, which is like 2 by 2 inches, half an inch thick, and there is a sensor underneath. But before we know, we need to understand the body a little bit better. So the human body is a quantum biological system. We are, let's say, walking antennas. Sometimes people say, my spirit, my soul is in my body. Well, I got news for you. Your body is in your spirit. We are surrounded by this whole energy field around us. This cloud of energy that we are producing and frequencies that we are producing is basically, together with our body, our organism. Our tissues, they exist out of cells. The cells exist out of molecules. The molecules exist out of atoms. And if you take the atoms, they are consisting out of a nucleus and some electrons that are spinning around. And that is being held together with electromagnetic connections. And between that and what's happening there with all the spinning around is pure energy. So we are pure energy in the form of a body. Did you know that each of these atoms, they have their own frequency? It's the consistency of the nucleus and the electrons that spin around that has a unique frequency. But we are this combinations of molecules, and our cells or our tissue is a combination of those cells again. So you can imagine that our kidney tissue has a different frequency, a different resonance frequency than our bone tissue or our skin tissue. So everything has their own unique frequency. But also think about material around us. Think about metal, it has a frequency. Think about stone or wood or glass, everything has a frequency. But thoughts are also a frequency, light is a frequency. We are basically, and this is exactly what Nikola Tesla says, if you want to know the secrets, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So we are living, let's say, orchestras. We are sending out our own unique vibration energy. So we are also communicating on a subconscious level with each other via that energy field, via that vibration field. So when you enter a space where there is this negative energy, you sense that. This is what we feel. This is what we sense. the opposite as well. If you fall in love, you are resonating and that person is resonating maybe very well together, and you are being a match energetically as a resonance energy. We are also communicating on a subconscious level, on a quantum level, maybe on distance. You think about your best friend, which is maybe thousands of miles away, and he's calling you. Is there a connection between you and your friend, like a wire or something? No. But his antenna, his body, his energy field is sending out a signal, and you think about it, and you think about it back, and your friend is calling. This is what we are communicating with. This is also how the Healy works. So we are power plants. We are walking energy stations, and each cell is producing their own energy. When we have healthy bodies, when we have healthy young cells, it has a certain kind of voltage, and the voltage is very negatively charged. And young cells, when they are negatively charged, let's say around minus 70 millivolts, optimum, then nutrients and oxygen can enter the cell very easily, and waste products and toxins can go easily out of the cells. It goes via the cell membrane, the cell wall. So with an optimum negative charged environment in our body, it goes very easy and our body can function very, very well. Just by aging, our cell membrane voltage goes more up. We are getting more positive charged. On top of that, we are exposed to a lot of radiation. Think about your mobile phones, the tablets, the computers, the laptops, the cell towers, the Wi-Fi, the smart meters, everything that is smart, everything is producing this EMFs, this electrical magnetical fields, and those are actually disrupting our own natural vibration. So we are getting much faster positively charged. And when that happens, we got much more aches and pains, more inflammations, more edema, and eventually even an environment, if we don't take care of it, where we have much more tumor cells. So what happens when there's a more positive charged environment? The cells, they cannot uptake nutrients and oxygen so well anymore, and they cannot get the waste products away. The cell wall hardens, the cell membrane hardens. So what the Healy is doing is it is helping with the electrodes, with the microcurrents in the frequency programs. The microcurrents, they are basically recharging our body to a more negatively charged environment. So eventually our cells, they are starting uptaking nutrients again, and they are giving the waste products away. This is science. This is not a blah blah story. If you search for the name Bjorn Nordenström, then you find that he was actually the chairman of the Nobel Prize Committee. So we're really talking about science here. So what happens if there's a more strongly negatively charged environment? Again, more amino acids will be entering the cells. So you can read this slide best from the bottom to the top. So more amino acids will enter the cells, and they are the building blocks for protein synthesis. Protein synthesis is the process where protein structures are being made that build our cells, that build our tissue, that are also duplicating the DNA much better. So that is very important. So when that is being upped, then also more mitochondria can be made in the cells. And the mitochondria are the ATP producing power plants of the body. And ATP is the energy substance in our cells. That is basically what is giving us our energy. Now I'm just taking you to an example. Think about young children. Young children have young healthy cells. They have a strong negatively charged environment. How quick are their wounds healing compared to older people of 70, 80 years old? You understand now why? How much energy do the young kids have compared to older people? So what the Healy is doing is increasing this whole process that you are getting much more energy, etc., that your cells are being rebuilt, that your DNA is copied much better. So yes, this will have, on the long term, it will have beautiful effects for you. Now, our 120 programs diverted over 16 program categories. If you
Wow, that's a lot of science. But that really is the background of how this all works, how it all comes together. Get some feedback from somebody who's not muted.
It's us.
Okay. So I think Mark does a really good job of explaining it all, and that's why I invited him here with us this evening so that he could bring it to us. And most of you who are with the company know that beginning in February, we are going to be having Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock in every time zone product intro presentations. So that should be pretty exciting as well. I'm really, really looking forward to that. Michaela, did you have anything to add, or Kathy, do you have anything to add to the science? You two are my science geeks. I'm getting a no from Michaela. And Kathy, you're not visible, so I can't see if you're saying yes or no.
No, I don't have anything to add.
Oh, you thought he did a good job, huh?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, let's let him just share with us some of the various program categories as well. Okay. Share screen. Here we go. We're just going to fast forward through
all
some
the
of this.
programs down, love. 120 of them. Is your screen light up, the dimmer, or is it down?
Somebody's unmuted. Okay, here we go.
use this app because it's working with microcurrents. We also have an app with the blue dot, and that is for the resonance. It is the same Healy, but you have access to this app if you get the most, if you get the big package, the resonance, and then you can do analysis. But I'm going to show you later on. So at the moment is running the energy program. I can do it higher, I can do it lower, but for me it always works around 50-60%. I love it. There are people who are very, very sensitive, and maybe they need to start with 10, 15, 20%, just depending on what works. What I want to show you is that we have all kind of program groups. So we have the Gold Cycle, PAPE, Psyche Learning. I go through them right now. On each Healy, doesn't matter which version you have, this is the standard. The Gold Cycle programs developed by Nuno Nina, they are on each Healy. And he says that with these 7 programs, you can help everyone. The Pure program is to get rid of toxins, to detoxify, to balance the negative environmental issues, or to balance, maybe unhealthy food that you have taken. Care is to boost your immune function, Your immune system balance is to balance out your organs and cells. And physically, being is to get mentally in balance. Energy for energy, relax for relaxation and stress. Release is to let go of pain, but also mental pain. So all these 7 programs, they are amazing. Very, very beautiful, profound programs. Then we advise everyone to start with it at least like 1-2 weeks and try what's happening. Then we have specialized program groups like the Pain Psyche. In the USA, you will only see numbers. So, you know, luckily we in the rest of the world, we can say chronic pain, teeth, jaw, local, migraine, depression, anxiety, insomnia, joints, local, and chronic back pain. We have learning programs to improve your memory, to help you when learning a new language, concentration, much love these programs. I have ADD and I'm very easily distracted. So if I really need to concentrate on something, then this is just really get me focusing. Fitness programs, because of Lyme's disease, I couldn't train for 5 years. I had a lot of pain in my joints. The Lyme's bacteria was really destroying a lot of things there. But with the programs, I started working out again about 9 months ago. So I'm really happy that this happened again and that I get back on track and that I feel healthier than ever. Regeneration goes much quicker, much more strength, much more stamina. Losing weight for people, amazing. But it's also helping people with lactic acid after a workout. Job programs. Who do you know who lost his or her job right now? Do they have a lot of depression? Do they have a lot of anxiety or stress? Or are they tired because they are working over hours in the care industry maybe? You know? These are really good programs to help with a burnt out feeling. Amazing programs. The sleep programs, I love them because I was sleeping very bad. And when using a sleeping program 1 hour before sleeping, slept like a baby. Mental balance programs. So in most parts of the world, we can say that it is working against depression and anxiety. So really profound programs and a lot of issues actually that are coming from a mental spectrum. So maybe you think you have back pain, but it can be a mental thing. Think about that. We have contentment programs that work on addictions. So really profound programs for that. Beauty.
So I just wanted to point out, he was saying in most parts of the world, we can say X, Y, or Z. So we have much stricter FDA regulations in the United States than they have in other countries.
By the US regulation.
And while that is the case, it doesn't mean that you can't say in other countries this can and is being used for X, Y, or Z. So again, it's a matter of really, you know, staying within the parameters of what's right and what's not right. But you can say in Europe, they can do this, because that's true. In Europe, they can do this. And in my case, I can say I have dealt with major depressive disorder for nearly 3 decades. And I have used this on myself. And it has been phenomenal. So it's, you know, I can give my own testimonials, just as you can give your own testimonials on whatever it is that you're experiencing. So just keep that in mind as we're moving through here. So there's just so many program categories out there. And for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through all of them, but I do want to give you all a little bit of idea. The difference between, we have 3 versions or 4 versions of this. We have the gold device, which just has the gold programs on it. We have the holistic health device, which has 50% of the programs on it. We have the holistic health plus, which has all of the basic programs on it. And then we have the resonance, which has all of the programs plus 7 homeopathics, plus the ability to do the analysis. So let's let Mart share his wisdom with us. And seriously, guys, if you could please just stay muted because it's just distracting for everybody else. So. Okay. Let's go through some of these.
At the database right now, so that could be possible. But normally, let's say we can make beautiful analysis. Yes, there we are. We can create clients. So we can add a new client, a personal, an animal, plant, organization, building, vehicle, group. If we want to add a person, we can put a picture in it. We can record the vibration of that person, because each person has their own unique vibration. So let me create my vibration. I put my name in, Mart, la la la, and my name, date of birth, whatever, and I create a profile. So if I do an analysis with my profile, then at least the Healy can recognize me, even if I would be within 1,000 people around me. So we're working with a quantum field, really, really profound. We do a lot of trainings about this, so we go much more in depth about it, but just to give a little bit of possibilities to show you what we have. So you just saw all the categories we have: the gold cycle, the pain psyche, learning, fitness, job, sleep, beauty, skin. And you saw that they contain a lot of programs. So if you want to know where you have the greatest resonance with which program from the fitness category, for example, you just do an analysis. What it is doing is that it is testing now my energy field, my aura, my information field, and it's just testing on, okay, which programs are suitable for me right now. So the program, circulation, and performance are at the moment from the top 5 are the most important programs for me. Oh. Then comes the weight program, then comes the deep relaxation and regeneration. I always say that everything above 40% is what you can really need, but so circulation is something that I could choose. I can do 2 things right now. I can go to the treatment app, attach my body to the electrodes, select the circulation program to get all the frequencies tested on my body and being uploaded also with microcurrents that are just giving and creating an environment where my cells will uptake the nutrients much better. Or I can do the most important frequencies from the circulation, the performance, the weight, the deep relaxation and regeneration. I can upload these as a frequency in my energy field. That is a possibility, and I don't need cables for that. What the Healy is turning into is like a radio antenna, and it is sending out these frequencies, and my information field, my energy, my aura picks it up and translate it into what needs to be done. I can do that 4 times, 6 times a day, 1 minute 20. I can do that 3 times a day, 2 minute 49. 1 time a day, 5 minute 59. 1 time a day, 12 minute 40. The 12 minute 40 is already like very, very strong, very, yeah. Do you need 12 minutes? I wouldn't do longer than this. There are longer times in it, but this is for clearing buildings or organizations. So no, maybe just do 1 minute 20. So if I select this, it is sending now the most important frequencies It's only a few, it's not the 400 per program, but only the most important ones it's sending down to my energy field. And my energy picks it up and is doing something with it. Some people don't understand this because what they don't see is what they don't believe. But I can tell you one thing. See this as having a remote control where you are sending information to television to do certain things. This is what's happening. So if you want to go to the next channel, you give information, your TV knows, okay, I need to go to the next channel. So the Healy is now the remote control and you are the television. So basically we're getting this information. Some people still don't understand it, but you don't necessarily need to understand something to know that it is working. Maybe you are watching this webinar via your mobile phone or a tablet or a computer or a laptop that is just standing in a space. My computer is standing here in my living room in this space. There's no wire connected to my Wi-Fi. So my computer is translating my mumbling, the images you see, it is translating it into frequencies, sending it to the Wi-Fi via the air. That is sending it to a satellite and it's sending to somewhere in the world. And you are watching this and there is no wire between you and me. Interesting, right? So everything is frequencies. So we can give information to the other end of the world, and it's also with this. What I also want to show you is that we have also access to 7 homeopathic remedies. We have 39 Bach flower remedies. We have 42 materia medica, which are medical herbs, 76 amino acids, 68 Australian bush flowers, 48 Alaskan gem elixirs, 27 Schussler salts, 64 I Ching. Really, really profound programs. And what you see is that if you select one of these, it is also giving you a description about what's going on. So it's giving you some more insights about how a person should feel or whatever. So I have now the most, the remedy that is resonating the most with me, with 73%, the burden of a weak willpower, cannot say no and is taken advantage of, is compensated. The judgment ability and assuredness of when to say yes or no is strengthened, and thereby the potential development potential is supported. Really spot on. I just was busy with some kind of a person that is just driving me nuts at the moment because they want to get something done. And it's not possible. And they still can say like, okay, Mark, you need to do this. And I said, okay, sure, let me try it. And it still is not possible. So, this is a theme right now. So all these kind of things are giving you a nice action of what to do. I can also make PDFs of this and I can send it. So if I send it to someone, okay, it takes some time apparently.
It does take some time. So I just think that's wonderful that he ran the resonance analysis live on screen and showed us exactly how spot on it is. And I know that in my practice, when I'm running those flower essences and gem elixirs and that whole homeopathic category on the resonance, it is spot on. It is absolutely spot on. And one other little tiny story that I like to share with people is, I think it was in September, right around Labor Day weekend, I had a friend over and she was in a new relationship and her significant other had a significant amount of pain in his knees. And this is a pain device. So we thought, well, let's just show it to him. So they came over and I ran the analysis and I was reading what was coming up and sharing with them what was being revealed, and she kept going, "That doesn't sound like you at all. This device isn't any good. It can't possibly be right." And like flash forward 2 months, and she came over to visit, and that she was no longer in the relationship, and all the stuff, that the reasons why she wasn't in the relationship were all the reasons that were coming up that day on that analysis. But I wasn't about to tell someone who was young and in love that she really didn't know this guy as much as she thought she did. So Michaela and I were chatting this afternoon, and we decided there's a whole market out there. We could go to the dating sites and run analyses for people and let them know whether or not this was going to be a good fit. So anyway, the other exciting part is, I hope you saw the red lines and the blue lines at the bottom of the screen when they were running and sending the frequencies, because that shows us this is working in real time. It's sending and receiving and sending and receiving. And as it sends, it's reading how your body's reacting, and then it adjusts what it sends. So that's pretty incredible that we have a device that's $2,500 that sends and receives and adjusts in real time. It just is otherworldly to me. It's pretty awesome and pretty amazing and pretty exciting. So I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out. Yes, Michaela.
And not only is it reading you every second in real time, but it's working simultaneously on all your levels, like on the physical, the astral, the mental, and the spiritual level. And it's addressing all of that. And a lot of times, whatever is bothering us eventually in the physical level, it all starts in these other levels. It's some mental cause, some emotional cause, some spiritual conflict, whatever, but it works from that outside in down to the physical cell until things manifest on the physical level. And so the incredible advantage is that you can catch anything that is maybe brewing that you are not even aware of. It can be caught before it happens to manifest on a cellular level. So talk about prevention and the power of that.
Yeah, that is really exciting. We're so blessed. I say it over and over again every day. We wake up in the morning and I look at Gabby and I tell her I'm grateful for her, and then we list our gratitudes, and man, I got to tell you, Healy's way up there on the list for me. And this is just where we are now. And as I've been known to say, this is like the iPhone 1. What's coming next is so incredible. I mean, we're just, those of us who've been with the company for a while, are taking a few of the more advanced classes, are now learning that we can create customized programs where we can go in and actually create affirmations and reprogram the subconscious and put that program in there and run it whenever we want, as opposed to sitting and saying affirmations over and over and over again. We can just let the device run it into our field. How amazing is that? I think it's pretty cool. So, who has a testimonial? Who has a question? This is your shot, guys. Let's open it up for some Q&A.
I have a testimony for just what happened today.
Excellent, Linda. Thank you. Let's hear it.
Well, I was out shoveling. I'm in Wisconsin too. And I came in and I had this horrible headache starting. My head started pounding, and I typically don't get headaches. So I don't know where it came from, but lo and behold, I have my Healy. And so I ran a pain program. Well, it was actually the brain. I think it's in bioenergetics 2 and a brain program. Or no, not a brain, a head program. And I think that program is quite lengthy, but within 25 minutes, my headache was gone. And I just I mean, I'm kind of on the fence too. Can this really happen? And I'm like, yes. I was so happy that my headache was gone because it was really pounding. So
Wow.
yeah,
How amazing is that?
I know it was very easy. I have one more. I don't know if I should
Yeah, go
continue,
ahead.
but
Yes,
um,
yes.
well, I saw a client in person this week. I'm a healing touch practitioner. So what I start with is just a chakra opening, see if their chakras are opening, their energy centers. And what I did was ask her if she's open to trying this Healy that I brought. And she's, of course, all excited. Oh, yes, yes. So I put her in my Healy because I have the resonance. And I ran the chakra program on her. And we checked her chakras and they're all open. And they never were they open.
Wow.
So I could eliminate the chakra connection, and go right into the healing for her. So
Oh, how wonderful is that?
I was excited and she was excited.
I'm excited for both of you, and I'm excited to know that we have that ability. That's awesome.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like Jasmine asked a question. Please tell me how I can do what you just said to create frequencies to program our subconscious.
Oh boy.
You know what? There's a whole class on that. That's an hour and a half long. So why don't you, Jasmine, send me your contact information and I'd be happy to send you the link to that, because we'd be on here another hour and a half. It's doable. It's definitely doable, but it does take a step-by-step process. So thanks for asking. That's a great question. And we've got this scalar wave technology that's coming out. My God, we've got part of the mastermind team that's been in Las Vegas this week and part of the mastermind team that's been in Florida this week. So I can't wait for the announcements that will be coming out either tomorrow or Friday when we have our Frequency Friday with Marcus. Things are getting very exciting around here. Very exciting. So who else has a testimonial or a question, or this is your time? Now the cat's got everybody's tongue.
Well, one thing that you may have noticed is that your pets, when you run the frequencies, they will, just cuddle all over you and crowd you because they love the frequencies and they're not influenced by anything. And I just had my cat and dog here fighting over the spot who could be closer to my healing that I'm running. And it's just wonderful because they just are like sponges. They know what's good and they absorb it, and they want to be a part of it. And like your dog too, they just know, and it's so much easier to kind of work with, as we're just running program after program. And the one thing I'm also saying is, like, every time we run a program, you not only are you really helping yourself, and you may be clearing and uplifting your own spirit, your own consciousness, but as you're changing your consciousness, your energy and your frequency, you're changing the global consciousness. So as we're all together running more and more Healys and more programs every day at lightning speed here, we're really shifting the energy and we are making a difference. We may not really know how much or how so, but we do. And again, for me, I'm as an international intuitive and have been into energy work for over 35 years. It's so amazing how much more easily we can shift through things and how the process is so much more effortless. And like somebody else that just signed up this yesterday, actually, she had said that she's a Reiki worker, and she said it is so much stuff that I've worked through, but it's effortless and it's easier, and it's not so hard. Like, sometimes we go to really heavy duty stuff, but because of the support with the frequencies, you can really move through a lot of stuff much more easily. And one of my testimonials was I had a really hard time, or I still have a hard time running, the EMF. And I feel no matter what, you don't have to have necessarily microcurrents, because even when you just vibe any program in, you can do it on the pink app or the blue app, you get so much out of it. And then of course with the microcurrent, it's a totally different experience. But at my birth, my mother and I, we both died, and I was still in the womb, and I had to get the pedals on, well, my mother got the pedals on the belly, and it took 3 times charging until my heart started beating again. And so putting microcurrents extra in my body was not really something that I was wanting to do, because I still felt pretty charged up. But what I did this weekend, I said, I'm gonna somehow kick this. And I just had my intention on choosing a program with the Healy so that I could decharge and get out of the shock that I was really still in from back then. And so the program came up and I did something pretty weird with the bracelets and everything, unusual. And I could feel how a lot of this charge was coming up. I was coming out of shock, and it felt almost like I was coming back alive in a different level. I can't quite describe it yet, but it was so profound, and I ran it for quite some time. And it's like you always have to listen to yourself and your own feeling. And like they're saying with the microcurrents, higher and more is not always better and more efficient. Sometimes you need to go lower, because that's just where you're at, and that's what your body needs. And you can, if you run the microcurrent, for instance, too high, I've found with people that I've worked with, they're going into stress. And so when you just click it down again, it then starts, relaxing, and you get more benefit. So always start slow and know that you're still getting plenty of whatever it is you need at that time. So listen to your bodies when you're working with the device, for those of you that are going to get it soon and are excited about it. So it's just knowing, take it easy, go slow.
Slow and steady.
Michaela,
Yes? Hello?
Are there any side effects to it when you do go fast, or you're not used to it yet? Can you talk about that? Is there any
Well, the side effect is
any side effects to it in misusing it?
that you're stressing your body. You're pushing, like you're trying to put a football through a mouse hole, and it's counterproductive.
Yeah, they say set the frequency until you can feel it and then drop at 5. But the key with that is every time the frequencies change, it's going to impact you differently. And the lower the frequency, the more you're going to feel the charge. The higher the frequency, the less you'll feel the charge. So it's kind of, it's different for everybody. That's really the main thing you need to know. It's different for everybody. If you've got somebody that's got some serious chronic health issues, you got to go super slow. If you've got somebody that's relatively healthy, they can handle a lot more frequencies. So it's on an individual basis. And the other thing is, if somebody has some serious stuff going on, and I tell my team this all the time, they have serious issues going on, have them get the Heal Advisor Search app, have them work directly with the Time Waiver people in Germany. They're the medical experts, we're not. Don't take that liability on, don't take that risk. There's people out there that know way, 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 way more than all of us. So let's let them make those decisions. So it's a phenomenal device. It looks like a toy when you pull it out of the box, but it is so not a toy. It's a medical device. It's cleared as a Class 2 medical device in the United States for acute and chronic pain. So, okay, that's just what it's cleared for, but it does so much, and it works, as we've been saying, on all those levels simultaneously: the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And when you have something that's working in all those fields simultaneously, that's powerful. That's really, really powerful. And, you know, it can set off a detox effect. So you do want to start with the Gold Cycle programs for only 2 weeks. And you do want to give your body a chance to adapt and adjust. And if you do start to have a detox effect, or as we commonly have been known to say, if your pee starts to smell, back off. Just back off for a day or two. Give yourself a break. They actually recommend that you take at least 1 day a week off. So,
and also when you run it, you really need to make sure you're hydrated. You drink water before and after. And like Lori was saying, the detox effect really continues. It's not over just because your session is over. It continues for the day or two through your lymph system, through your bloodstream, through your urine and your stool. So you're really kicking something big time loose within you, and only the water will obviously carry it through and out. And so really remember to do that. And then they also recommend to ground yourself afterwards and just really be with the frequencies when you're running the session, because there's going to be emotional or mental or physical releases that are happening. And so you really want to be able to appreciate your own process and stay present with yourself as you're going through it.
absolutely. And as I mentioned earlier, I run a lot of those homeopathics and a lot of the stuff that's going to work on the emotional field. And I will tell you that I have started to notice a deeper level of healing than I have experienced ever. It's like not just during it, but days later, out of nowhere, all of a sudden something is bubbling to the surface to be cleared that I thought I took care of 40 years ago. For example, my mom died of breast cancer when I was quite young, and she was only 49. And honest to God, 40 years ago, she died. I thought I was so over that and so calm about it. And something came up recently that just triggered me, and I was right back there. I haven't had that happen in decades. So clearly, my emotional body was ready to release yet another layer at a much deeper level than it had ever released before. So we really got to kind of just, I told everybody in the beginning we should journal and write down the programs that you're using and write down how you feel during and after. And keep track of that, because you're not going to remember. I guarantee, day after day after day of running this, you're not going to remember. And I'm really good about taking notes for my clients, but physician heal thyself. I don't do it nearly as much for myself, but. So I really and truly encourage all of you to share this with everyone that you know. We're not selling these devices. Sharing is caring. I mean, this is changing the consciousness of the planet. This is helping people in such a profound way, on such a profound level, that not sharing it, it's not even fair not to share it. It really isn't fair not to share this information. So,
Lori, can I ask a question, please?
Sure.
Hi, my name is Jana Marie, and I was invited to take a look because I've heard about this from my friend. And what I'm not clear on is A, where do we get it? B, how do we get it? C, if you get it and you don't, is there a time where you can try it and you don't like it, you can return it? And as the programs grow and they add more and more to it, will those be added automatically to the Healy we already have, or we would have to upgrade and buy other programs?
Okay, let's start at the very beginning. You want to get back to the person who referred you to this meeting, and they can help you sign up as either a customer or a member, and they will also be able to help you purchase your device.
Okay.
So that's the easy part. Will they add programs to what we already have? So since I've been involved since the beginning, they added the deep cycle programs and they gave them to all of us. Since even before I was involved, on March 31st, because the US wasn't open then, on March 31st, they added a bioenergetic boost program, bioenergetic support program, and said everybody that has a device is getting this and everybody should use it every day. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that it was probably boosting your immune system for these current times we live in. So I've seen those types of things happen. I've also now seen that the company is coming out with subscriptions. For example, somebody who's interested in weight loss may not be interested in the pet programs. Somebody who has the pet programs may not be interested in weight loss. So some of those things are coming out as monthly subscriptions that you can buy for your specific needs. So I can foresee more of that coming down the pike. The subscriptions aren't exactly pricey. I mean, they're pretty reasonable. So as far as the scalar wave technology and those types of things that are coming down the pike, we don't know yet. But it's technology. And, you know, I don't want to put a negative spin on it, but technology is technology. You got to get your iPhone updated. You got to get your computer updated. You got to get any of these technologies updated.
Right.
Sporadically. So, you know, stay tuned for the continuing saga. But this is what I know for sure. It's going to be so darn exciting. You're not going to care. You know, like with your computer, it's like a necessity. With your phone, it's a necessity. But this stuff is advancements in health and wellness. So
Right.
So I thought there were 4 questions. Did I miss one?
Yes, if you don't like your device.
Oh yeah, 2
Right.
weeks.
2 weeks, you
Of
can
2
get
weeks.
full refund.
Right.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good.
But 90,
You mentioned that the subscriptions can be turned on and off monthly.
yes, that's very true as well. And 94% of the people keep their devices. So if you're part of the 6%, you do get 2 weeks.
Okay.
I don't
Perfect.
think it would be. I don't. Does anybody else have a question? Those were great questions, Jana. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
Questions, testimonials, thoughts, ideas.
Pamela, do you want to share your testimonial?
Okay.
You got to unmute yourself.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna get on this one. My name is Pamela Douglas, and I recently signed up. In fact, I signed up yesterday for this wonderful product. I'm just getting the gold, but a few days before that, Michaela ran a scan on me with the Renaissance. Is it called a Renaissance? I don't know. Yeah. Yes. And just like Lori was saying, you could detox. And I remember right after the scan was done, that later that night, or even immediately after, my nose started running. I really started detoxing, and it took about a couple of days. And then I don't know if this can happen, but I was with my friend Hazel. She also had a scan done. And after she started detoxing, and I found myself detoxing with her, and I was with her at the time of the scan being run. And we just really found this product to be truly amazing. So thank you.
Wow.
And do you want to say something about how exhausted you were and how you felt after?
How I felt after?
Yeah, because you were working so hard in your job in the hospital and stuff.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm a chaplain, so it can get a little, you know, you could carry a lot on you after seeing so many patients and hearing their stories and listening, and it can be a little burdensome. And so once I had this done, it just kind of was released from me, I felt so much more relaxed and calm in myself. So I felt really good. I like it. That's why I got it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And God bless you for the work you're doing in the world right now.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And so we were talking how the Healy, as it's helping her, she can really provide a greater service, you know, in her job. And maybe she can also incorporate it in some ways. So you just never
Yes.
know the possibilities, right?
Yes, because with my partner, we're looking to work with the residential care homes for the elderly, and so we really want to be able to implement it there also.
Wow.
Very wonderful. Very wonderful. That is amazing.
Thanks, Pamela.
They're really, the possibilities are endless as to what can be done with this. And taking it into corporations, there's a possibility there, and setting up groups. And I just give you one example. My brother committed suicide at the end of August, and my sister and I both have Healys, and so we were constantly running frequencies on people. And finally we looked at each other one day and we went, why don't we just set the whole family up as a group? Because everybody, you know, like, you can't just set a family up as a group most of the time, but everybody was dealing with the same three emotions. It was grief, it was shame, and it was anger. And so we literally just put the whole family in as a group, and we started running those frequencies, and it was amazing, absolutely amazing how everybody just kind of calmed down. And, you know, everybody still was processing those emotions, but in a lot more pleasant way. So it was pretty incredible. Really incredible. So, as I say, it's a world of endless possibilities in a company that has endless possibilities. Laura Grant, did you want to share something wonderful from Maui?
You're so funny, because I just got on a webinar today with Mark. He does Tuesdays every day, and I've been wondering where he is, and there he is. And I'm listening to probably maybe the first one when my brother turned me on to Healy, and there you are doing the same thing. And to hear you talk about putting your whole family, you know, in a frequency. I won't get too heavy. I'll keep it together because I've been doing my elixirs and my Bach flowers. But my husband, we're into our 31st year of marriage. I'm going to tell you, depression, knocked the house down, rebuilt it. It's amazing. What's happened? I've done my frequencies, and I've given myself permission to run resonances on him. And, you know, there's this incredible pivotal turn that's gone on. And I feel like if you've been married for 31 years and you've worked most of it, and the last year you're trying to decompress, I'm like, this Healy it's amazing. Because you see, if I gave myself permission for him, I know him. And so what comes up and what is, and then you run them, and the synchronicity going on is, it's hard to explain.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we can take it into marriage clinics as well.
Right. Well, true, everything.
Yeah.
So can I ask a question?
Of course.
Children. Tell me about, well, Penelope talks about the spectrum children, and I don't know, I look at some of the different sites, and is it okay to run frequencies on children?
So I don't have it memorized. I think they
Mm.
have to be a certain age to run the
Mhm.
microcurrents with the hookups
Mhm.
in the manual under
Mhm.
contraindications. So I would check there first. I
Yeah, and they
think
probably need to be older, but so many
and-
kids.
right, but there's a difference, right? This is intense, having the hookups, but running it
Right.
into the information field is different, because then
Mhm.
the body takes in what it's going to feel comfortable taking in.
Right.
But seriously, I would have to refer you to the manual to get the
Right.
exacts on that. And then you have to, from there, once you know the company's position on it, then you have to just trust your gut.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but thanks for sending that Maui sunshine to all of us over here in the
Well, thank you for an incredible 2-hour Zoom.
Oh, you're welcome. You're so welcome.
You know, with children, you can always vibe it in. And what children need is, again, they need the flowers, they need the gems, they need the homeopathics, they respond really well. And do the shiso salts and do the amino acids and do them for the animals and do them for yourselves, because those are your basic building blocks. You do need those cell salts. You need to replenish and balance them. And there's so many things that get addressed just by running the salts or the amino acids. And then you add the emotional components with the flower essences. So you have right there, you don't even have to go into any of the other heavy mental stuff. Maybe, do some de-stressing, because we all have stress and we all are exhausted with everything you've been going through. And the kids are exhausted too, because they don't get to see their friends. They are so isolated and so lonely. They don't, just like they have no social interaction much.
Oh.
And so by just doing these few things, you're so much supporting them.
Oh, I mean, schools, learning disability, Hawaii, on the spectrum children, people who are addicted to drugs. I'm like, prisons. I'm going, oh.
It's endless.
Today I said to myself, oh my God, on the news, do you remember I'm sorry, I'm going to share for a minute because this is how my brain works. The woman who they hauled out of the car with her 3 kids, and for 2 hours they're on the ground. And today they're going through this whole thing about what they've been through. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to send her a Healy, and I'm going to send her a letter. And she's got to learn to work this Healy, because these kids are having severe trauma from it. I mean, that's just one bit of the universe.
That's wonderful.
Sorry.
A gift that would be. That's okay. No. We're all attached to these devices and we all know the power of them. So any way we can get them out to the world, that's what we need to do. So somebody just asked a question in the chat. How do you do a group? Hazel, that's
I'll show you, Hazel.
Michaela will show you. How's that? That was an easy answer. It's part of setting up a client. You choose group instead of individual. So
Okay.
And you can set it up for your house if you want to clear like electrosmog for your house.
yeah.
If you want to clear your bedroom, or your whatever property you might have, if there's been conflict with a neighbor or whatever, just get the vibes up on your own property. There's so many things we can do. I love that, because we all have something going on, and to just even be able to uplift the vibrations in your house, in your own house, is wonderful.
Absolutely. And those protection programs are pretty amazing. And those programs you can set up and run all night, which I have been known to do on many occasions. And I often sleep better when I do. So it's very, very wonderful. So the key is, for those of you who are interested in purchasing a device, you definitely want to get back to the person who invited you this evening And for those of you who would like a copy of this recording, you're going to need to send me your emails because I don't have yours. I have some of yours, those of you who are on my team, but there's a lot of people here that I am meeting for the first time this evening. So my email's in the chat. Feel free to email me at lori.falk@me.com and I will get back to you that way. But does anybody else have another question or another testimonial that they'd like to share? I promised I wouldn't keep you guys all night, so. But anytime my group gets together and it's less than 2 hours, we're doing good.
That is true.
Because my people are so into this, they would literally keep me on here all night. I know them. I know them, and I'm not going to let them do that because Gabby wants to have some dinner. So.
A lot of times we're really on also because we have so many amazing stories happening every day with
Yes.
people. And it's like where to start and how to, you know, it's just so gratifying to be able to give somebody hope, to give somebody something powerful that they can use at any time for themselves and have self-care, self-responsibility, and with that have instant freedom. And to me, that's one of the reasons why I'm into this, because that's part of my work. I like to empower people so they know how to help themselves whenever they are in a whatever glitch, whatever, you know, stuckness, and to be able to give them one more tool to really help themselves immediately when they need it. And it's like, for me, I'd like to have the vision that it's in everybody's household. Like we have Band-Aids in our household. The Healy is way more than a Band-Aid, but I would like to see, you know, a Band-Aid called Healy in everybody's medicine cabinet or desk or kitchen or wherever you're gonna carry it. To me, that's my vision and the intention I'm holding, that it's going to be just as much a household brand name and item like a Band-Aid box.
Absolutely.
And who doesn't have Band-Aids in their house, in their home?
Absolutely. Like I said, it's the iPhone 1 or the Healy 1. So stay tuned. Going to get interesting.
Yes.
It isn't already, right?
And the company has promised us, you know, to come out with, despite again the pandemic and everything, with new subscriptions, and they have. And they promised us to come out with this new scalar Tesla technology. And we got a glimpse of it, like, what was it, almost 2 weeks ago or 10 days ago? And it's supposed to come out in April. And they were so excited and they were showing it to us. They gave us a little look at it. And so we know they're not just empty words, they're keeping and sticking to their promises.
Absolutely. Great company, great product, great people. Doesn't get much better than that, does it?
Nope.
So, all right.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you all so much for being here with me this evening. Thank you for your dedication to this company. Thank you for your curiosity about this product. And please, please, please reach out to whomever sent you to this meeting and get more information and come join us, because this is just so much fun. Love you guys. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Okay, unmute yourselves and say yay or happy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Michaela.
Night.
Good night.
Joining our team, Pamela and Hazel.
Have a good week.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great year.
Amen.
Amen to that. Bye, Candy.
Blessings to you. Bye, Jenna Marie.
Bye.
Bye, Linda. Hi, everybody.